Warning: do not watch this alone. This is not a ghost story meant to entertain you. This is a place that still breathes, still listens, and still remembers everyone who died inside it. Some hotels host guests. This one collects them. In the Canadian Rockies, surrounded by a silence older than memory, stands the Banff Springs Hotel. Built in 1888, it's a luxury castle carved into stone and isolation. To the outside world, it's a breathtaking resort. But to the locals, it's a warning. A chilling reminder of what came before. Long before the first stone was laid, this land was avoided. Indigenous legends spoke of it being a thin place, a veil between worlds, where spirits could cross with terrifying ease. The stories began, even during construction. Workers reported sudden waves of inexplicable panic, a dizzying vertigo that made them stumble, and whispers that seemed to come from the very foundations of the building. Several men quit, their nerves shattered. A few, it said, never returned at all, swallowed by the mountain and the project. Against all odds, against all warnings, the hotel opened anyway. Its grand doors swung open, inviting the wealthy and the unsuspecting into its opulent embrace. Within the first decades, the deaths began, quietly at first. A worker would fall from scaffolding in a freak accident. A guest would be found lifeless in their room, with no signs of struggle, no clear cause of death. The official reports were neat and tidy, listing accidents, natural causes, tragic misfortunes. But unofficially, the staff started to notice a disturbing pattern. People didn't just die here. They wandered first. They became confused, disoriented, drawn toward specific places within the hotel. Staircases, balconies, long, dark hallways. It was as if the building itself had a consciousness, a malevolent will, and it was guiding them, leading them to their end. The hotel wasn't just a building, it was becoming a hunter. The most famous tragedy, the one whispered about in hushed tones even today, happened on a cold winter night. It involves a bride, a picture of youthful joy dressed in pristine white. Candles lined the grand staircase, their flames flickering and dancing, casting long, wavering shadows on the marble. As she descended, something went terribly wrong. She slipped. Some say her flowing dress caught fire on one of the candles, turning her into a human torch. Others swear they saw something else, that she was pushed by an unseen force. Her body broke at the bottom of the stairs. Her wedding celebration transformed into a funeral. Ever since that night, guests and staff report the same chilling experience. The faint sound of a woman running, the swish of fabric dragging across marble floors, the frantic footsteps gaining speed, echoing through the halls. Then, a sudden, heart-stopping silence. Right before the imagined impact. Some guests have woken up in the middle of the night, with unexplained bruises on their legs, shaped like fingers, as if someone had run right through them in the dark. The bride never left the hotel. She just keeps reliving her final, terrified moments, over and over again. And then there's room 873, the room that was erased. The story goes that a family checked in, a mother, a father, and their young daughter. They seemed happy, normal, but they never checked out. When staff finally forced the door open, they were met with a scene of unimaginable horror. The room was destroyed. Furniture was overturned, lamps shattered, and there was blood on the walls. Handprints were everywhere, small, desperate handprints, far too many for just 3 people. The hotel management acted swiftly and decisively. They sealed the room, bricking up the doorway. They renumbered the entire floor, trying to wipe its existence from the hotel's history. Officially, room 873 does not exist. You can't book it. You won't find it on any floor plan, but its presence lingers. Guests in the rooms next to the sealed-off space report hearing screams in the dead of night. Staff who clean the hallway have seen mirrors fog up for no reason, and when they do, small childlike handprints appear on the glass, as if from the inside, reaching out. They appear even when the guest is completely alone in their room. The family never left. They're just trapped on the other side of the wall. Employees, especially the ones who have worked there for decades, speak of Sam the bellman. He was a fixture at the hotel back in the 1960s, known for his impeccable service. Polite, helpful, and always smiling. He was the perfect employee. The strange thing is, guests still describe meeting him. Decades apart, the description is always the same. An older gentleman in a classic bellman's uniform who carries their bags, gives them directions to the spa, or tells a light-hearted joke. He's charming, he's helpful, and then he'll turn a corner and simply vanish into thin air. He's there one moment and gone the next. Hotel records confirm that a bellman named Sam did work there, and he did die in the hotel. But no one seems to agree on how. Some say it was a heart attack. Others whisper it was something far more sinister. Sam is still on duty, forever. By the 1970s, the staff had quietly accepted a chilling truth. Banff Springs wasn't just haunted by one or two spirits. It was occupied. The bride, the family, Sam, the bellman, they were just the most well-known residents. But something else was happening. Something deeper, older, and far more powerful was waking up within the hotel's stone walls. The thin place was getting thinner. The Banff Springs Hotel. From the outside, it's a castle in the Canadian Rockies, a fairy tale fortress of stone and elegance. But within its walls, something else has taken root. Something that was there long before the first guest checked in. The story of this hotel isn't just about ghosts. It's about a building that seems to be alive, a place that watches, waits, and sometimes keeps its visitors. Today, we're not just telling ghost stories. We're exploring the chilling theory that the Banff Springs Hotel is a living entity, feeding on the sorrow that has soaked into its very foundation. Construction began in 1887, a monumental task in the heart of the unforgiving wilderness. But the project was plagued with problems from the start. Accidents were frequent, and whispers began that the land itself was resisting. The original wooden structure mysteriously burned down in 1926, and from its ashes rose the stone fortress we see today. But the new buildings seemed to inherit the old one's shadows. Stories of a doomed bride who fell down the grand staircase, a phantom bellman named Sam Macaulay who helps guests to their rooms, and a family murdered in room 873 became local legends. But these are just the stories they tell tourists. The truth, as always, is far more unsettling. As the hotel expanded over the decades, the activity escalated. During major renovations, workers began to uncover the building's secrets. They'd knock down a wall, only to find a perfectly intact, sealed door on the other side. They discovered entire rooms that had no numbers, no windows, and weren't marked on any blueprint. Hallways were found that twisted in ways that defied the hotel's known layout, leading to dead ends that shouldn't exist. It was during these renovations that the staff's unease turned to genuine fear. Workers reported hearing voices coming from inside the newly exposed walls. Sometimes it was faint laughter, other times a woman crying. Most terrifyingly, some claimed to hear whispers calling their names, beckoning them closer to the dark, empty spaces. Tools would vanish from locked rooms and reappear in different wings of the hotel. Equipment would malfunction in hazardous ways, narrowly avoiding disaster. The feeling of being watched was constant. Several construction workers quit mid-shift, walking off the job without even collecting their pay. One man, a seasoned carpenter, reportedly ran out of the building barefoot into the snow, screaming that the walls were closing in. He never came back. Now let's talk about the death count. The official records for the Banff Springs Hotel list dozens of deaths over its long history. These are explained away as tragic accidents, falls from high ledges, unfortunate fires, even a few documented suicides. But if you talk to longtime staff, the ones who have worked the quiet night shifts and seen things they can't explain, you'll hear a different story. They whisper that the official number is a fraction of the real toll. Unofficial estimates put the count closer to 100. Some believe it's even higher, especially if you include the people who simply left. Staff members who packed their bags in the middle of the night, guests who checked out but were never seen by their families again. They vanished, swallowed by the mountain landscape, or perhaps by something else. Here's the part of the story they don't print in the brochures. This comes from a former night manager who worked at the hotel for over 20 years. He claimed the hotel doesn't just have ghosts, it has moods. He believed the building itself reacts to the world around it. Whenever a tragedy occurred, nearby a climbing accident on the mountains, a car crash on the highway, their activity inside the hotel would spike. Lights would flicker and die in entire wings. Locked doors would swing open on their own. Guests would flood the front desk with complaints of feeling an intense, suffocating sense of dread, or the unshakable feeling of being watched in their rooms. He was convinced that the building feeds on fear and sorrow, and once it gets a taste, it wants more. He said the most active nights were the quietest ones, when the hotel was nearly empty, and the loneliness of the place became a palpable presence. There's a rumor, a kind of game that the veteran staff never, ever tell the guests. They call it the hallway game. The rule is simple, but the consequences are not. If you find yourself walking the same hallway 3 times after midnight, the hotel notices you. It registers your presence, your anxiety, your curiosity. On the 3rd pass, it's just a hallway. But if you're brave or foolish enough to walk it a 4th time, something changes. Doors will appear where there were none before, or a familiar door will now be slightly ajar, revealing a room that feels impossibly old and cold. No one who works there admits to going through one of those doors, and the few new hires who reportedly tried, they never finished their shift. They were just gone by morning. So with all these stories, why do people still stay there? Why is it consistently booked, a beacon of luxury in the wilderness? The chilling answer might be that people don't always choose to stay at the Banff Springs. Something pulls them there. Countless guests have reported having vivid dreams of the hotel for weeks or even months before their trip. They dream of walking its long, carpeted hallways, seeing specific rooms they somehow recognize, even though they've never been there before. Some have even reported a truly disturbing phenomenon, waking up in the middle of the night, not in their bed, but standing silently in the corridor outside their room, with no memory of how they got there. It's as if the hotel called to them in their sleep, drawing them out into its quiet, watchful embrace. The Banff Springs Hotel isn't aggressive. It doesn't chase you down its halls with rattling chains. It's far more patient, more insidious than that. It waits. It offers you exactly what you need: comfort, warmth, luxury, a safe harbor from the world. And when a guest is tired enough, lonely enough, or broken enough, the hotel offers a permanent sanctuary. It doesn't scare them away. It convinces them to stay, forever. Some buildings just get old, others they learn. Thanks for watching Tales of the Dark, where every story gives you a new nightmare. Don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the shadows.